Okay, well, I guess Commissioner Hyatt's a no-show tonight. This is the first debate of the general elections here in Oak Hill, and I'm Henry Frederick. And this is NSBnews.net headline surfer. And the first debate tonight will be Mr. Gibson debating himself. And the second debate will be for county chair between Carl Persis of Woodman Beach and Jason Davis of Edgewater. And then the third debate of the evening will be for County Council, District 3, which represents Southeast Volusia, including Oak Hill, and that'll be between Deb Denny's and Jim Hathaway, both of New Smyrna Beach. Mr. Gibson, Commissioner Gibson, thank you for being a part of this debate. Could you please give an opening statement? You have 2 minutes.
For those that do not know me, my name is Douglas Gibson. I live at 297 River Road in Oak Hill, have since 1994. Brief background: United States Air Force, attended Miami-Dade College, aircraft engine mechanic is what I came out of the service as. I did that for a number of years, then I became a Florida highway patrolman. I did that until I retired, vested my rights with 10 years with them as a traffic homicide investigator. I then went into the business with my brother-in-laws in the residential construction business in South Carolina. We also owned a hardware store together. I left there, came back to Florida, and went into the insurance business. I'm a licensed, all lines, Florida insurance agent, personal lines as well as commercial, and I hold an adjuster's license. I was appointed to the commission in May of 2010. I decided to run for the position of mayor, and that brings us all up to date.
30 seconds.
Anything else? Could you tell us when you were appointed as a commissioner for Oak Hill?
May of 2010.
And did you fill someone else's term?
It was the mayor's seat that she vacated.
That was Mayor Dowell Lauer.
Yes.
She moved away, and then
Yeah,
Mayor Cook moved
it
up.
was 2011.
Okay, that's what I thought. If elected mayor of Oak Hill, what would be your top priority for the city? Top priority, 2 minutes.
Top priority would be the infrastructure.
What do you mean by the infrastructure?
It would possibly be an item that may not be able to be discussed, Henry. And the reason why, there's commissioners in this audience that these issues may come up on a vote.
Okay, so there's got to be another priority besides infrastructure.
There's a number of issues that faced Oak Hill.
What's the top one?
The top one's going to be the EPA. The EPA is going to require no septic tanks within 1 mile of the river.
That's going to be a major expense for a small community like this.
Yes. The state of Florida passed a law that septic tanks will be inspected.
Second question, would you ever consider dissolving the city in light of the, seems like you're always under a tight budget?
Only if a referendum came up and the citizens wanted to do so.
I believe there was some kind of an informal discussion about this, and maybe even people took petitions out in the community and it came back that they didn't want to do it.
That's correct. Petitions were passed around, but it never got off the ground.
What does Oak Hill mean to you as a city, as an incorporated community?
It's one of the best places I've lived, and I've lived all over Florida, Jacksonville, Orlando, Miami. It's a unique city. It's got the basic form of government. There isn't just one person that leads this city. You've got 5 commissioners that make the decisions based on their contact with the citizens, and hopefully we can make the right decisions. Sometimes it doesn't please everybody, but at least everybody has a vote.
What is Oak Hill's greatest asset and why?
The river.
And why?
Recreational fishing now, because the commercial fishing, the federal government's just shutting it down left and right.
Now, you're a boater. Could you please, for people who may not know Oak Hill's scenic view as well as you do here locally, could you tell the people that be watching us online about the river, what it's called and how big it is?
Well, the Mosquito Lagoon, and it's aptly named because of the little critters that bite the tar out of me. They seem to love me. But there are so many things that when you go out fishing, I've seen almost every type of wildlife up and down the river. Manatees, dolphins.
Now, we're talking the intercoastal waterway.
Intercoastal waterway.
Smyrna,
Yeah.
down to Edgewater, into Brevard County.
All the way
St.
down into
John's.
the Cape, yes. It's unbelievable. I take my grandkids out there and it's like you're in an aquatic center because there is so much life.
Manatees,
Manatees, you name it.
Dolphins.
Dolphins.
a lot of fishing, a lot of boating.
Yes.
Do you have a marina in Oak Hill? A
No.
formal marina? Why
Do not.
Let me ask you this, do you have any city property on the waterfront?
Such a small piece, the fishing pier is on it.
Have you ever considered creating a community redevelopment agency district, or CRA, on, say, River Road that goes out to the fishing nets, develop that further?
That's in a planning stage.
A
at this
CRA
time.
for that area?
Yes.
Okay. And what would be the benefit of that?
It would bring tourists in.
Ecotourism,
Yes.
fishing?
Yes.
Okay. And would you consider any partnerships with Titusville or nearby NIMS, I guess, which is a part of Titusville? By partnerships, I mean any kind of weekend activities or sharing of resources or...
They've got basically the same thing we've got then here. The same waterway, everything. It's basically the same. Would we enter into any agreement?
But don't they have a little more,
Consider.
aren't they a little more built up there?
The main drag is built up. I don't think along the river is.
Okay.
Titusville is. They've got a big, huge marina and all kind of waterfront development.
All right, I realize your opponent isn't here, but now we're going to get into the meat of the debate. How is the situation with law enforcement since the disbanding of the police force a year ago?
To me, excellent.
And you were the architect of that, you and Commissioner Engel, in pushing to have that dissolved. Is that a mistake, or was that something good?
I think it had to happen. It couldn't continue operating the way it was. You cannot intimidate officers and tell them, you have to do thus and so, or I've got 3 commissioners that will fire you.
And who are you talking about? Chief of Police?
The ex-chief.
Commissioner? I was going to ask, Linda, you were a supporter of Police Chief Diane Young. Doug, you were not. Initially, a motion was made to terminate Diane Young. It didn't go through. Would that have sufficed had she been terminated?
It would have been, that's what I was aiming for.
I mean, there are people that say you throw the baby out with the bathwater. Is that what you did here at the Oak Hill PD, or was it necessary to get rid of the entire thing? And do you regret it now?
I regret the collateral damage to the families because there were good officers on that department. But the bottom line of it all, when you start getting officers that won't support this officer, that means if he needs backup, it only takes, well, I'll wait 5 minutes before I run down there.
Well, I mean, you had officer pitted against officer,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yes.
Is that when it was time for you to say enough's enough?
I felt so, and apparently 2 other commissioners did too.
For those who may not know, tell us basically the cost differential between your own police force and Sheriff Johnson's Sheriff's Patrol, his deputies that are assigned.
The first contract was $60,000 less.
For the Sheriff's Office?
Yes.
Okay.
And that did not include the legal expense for the city with the lawsuits that were
I was going to get to that in a minute here. Any merit to the lawsuit filed by former city clerk Laura Gooderly And how embarrassed are you by that particular lawsuit?
It bothers me that it wasn't brought out at the time that the commissioners voted to remove her. That in the resolution it said that if she was removed, she would be placed back as assistant clerk. But she wasn't removed, she was fired.
Because of her behavior, why don't you?
No, that was one thing. And the issue is, and the interpretation will be up to the court, if it goes that far, is removal the same thing as being fired?
Did you have a written contract with her that was signed?
Apparently they had a resolution.
But I mean, she's saying that she had a right.
Well, I think she's making an assumption that that resolution is a contract. But the city, it's an ad-will type. You work for the city at the will of the commission. If the commission wants to remove you, you're gone.